Welcome everyone, welcome to the SciManDan podcast, the place where science and conspiracy collide. I hope you're all well. We're on episode, I cannot believe it, episode 7 already, unbelievable. This week I'm once again joined by my law co-host. He 100% asked for no barriers at the bowling alley, then secretly puts them up himself when no one's looking. It's Katz. Welcome buddy, how you doing?
I'm really well, but in my own defence, when we are bowling like that, I only bounce off them maybe once or twice per game.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's like a security blanket, you know.
Yeah,
I'm pretty good. I'm so good. I always manage to miss those pins at the end. I don't want to damage those.
Oh yeah, you don't want to do that. What's your top score?
Actually, I think my top score is about 210.
That's not bad.
That was but I'm always happy with over 100. But I know you're a bit of a player though.
Well, I've worked in a bowling alley for about 12 years. So when I was about 18 through to about 28 in the end, I think it was, 29. And we had like a little bowling team there. So 268 is my best. So, which is a lot of strikes. But I cheated because obviously I worked there. So I was doing it all the time. But yeah. Anyway, mate. Anyway, I've got some great news for you. The jingle has been produced. It's ready to go next week. not now, but next week.
No. Oh, when you said the jingle was ready, I almost jumped out of the seat.
Sorry.
You've made me disappointed though. I'm actually quite heartbroken.
What? You're still going to get it. You're still going to get it. So next week, be prepared for Katz's jingle when he gets introduced. It's good. Right. I saw something today about flat Earth in terms of the trends on Google. And it's down as low as it's been for like 4 years.
I think YouTube, certainly YouTube have really backed up the promise of trying to not promote the flat Earth, not recommend it as much. And I think that's having an effect now, which is good to see because I think Google and YouTube in some way were responsible for the spread of it to start with.
Yeah, they were. You're right. It's nice. I was kind of hoping you'd say it was down to us, but yeah, it's probably as YouTube. YouTube stopping it.
It was teamwork.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got a great guest today. Should we bring her on?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's bring her on. So our guest today has taken the world of TikTok by storm with her conspiracy chart and is also studying a master's in climate science. Huge thanks for joining us and welcome, Abbie Richards. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm very good. Thank you very much for coming on. So I've had a go at TikTok, right? So I did the Bob experiment on TikTok where he kind of this flat earther proves that the Earth's rotating 15 degrees per hour. 3.5 million views. First one, I was like, come on.
Wow.
I've taken over YouTube. I'm now going to take over TikTok. Next one, 3,000 views.
Yeah.
So there's no rhyme or reason, is there, to TikTok? It's like you can do great and then they can do rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, I had to shut down an old account basically because it went dead.
Really?
I had to completely. Yeah, I had a totally old account with like way more followers, and then it just silenced.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's temperamental.
It's really weird. Have you had a go yet, Katz?
I haven't. My daughter has the app, and I keep saying I need to have a look at it and see what all the fuss is about, but I've not. No, not had a go yet.
It's all right. It's quite fun, and I can see how people can get really into it. But I kind of got. I don't want to say put off, but I got disheartened a bit after the first one, thinking, here we go. I'm going to get loads, and it just didn't get anywhere near that after that first 3.5 million.
It's a rumor that TikTok will push your first video really hard, to test if you're essentially like a creator or a user, but also to like get you a taste, like give you the opportunity to have a taste of virality. Because
they reel you in, don't they? They reel you in. Yeah. Damn TikTok. Anyway, so you're doing a degree in, is it climate science?
I'm doing my master's of science in climate studies.
Okay. So is that, what does that involve?
Basically, it's mostly science classes. I'm focusing a bit on, I get to have a specialization. So climate studies is very much a broad, big picture look at the entire area of climate.
Right.
So I have a degree in environmental science as well. And cool. I'm now very interested in like how to get the public on board with like legitimate climate action.
Yeah. Tough one, that.
And yeah, so like, for instance, I just finished my class in biogeochemical cycles and climate change mitigation and another class in seaweed agriculture.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So what, like growing farms, that sort of thing?
Yeah, like growing seaweed as like the food, fuel, and material of the future.
Awesome. You'd get is it James from Action Lab? He was talking about that, wasn't it, with the biofuels?
Yes.
With using that sort of stuff for fueling and things like that. So as we discussed, you went viral on TikTok with your conspiracy chart. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it's basically like it's like a pyramid, isn't it, of all the conspiracies that are out there, and some
It is an inverted triangle.
Sorry, an upside down pyramid, inverted triangle, yeah. And it's got all the conspiracies on there, ranging from some that may possibly be true all the way to totally out there, completely not true at all. So where did the original idea come for that?
I've had to say this story a few times now, and I feel more and more ridiculous every time I do. But I was talking to a boy on Tinder, and and we were having a conversation about conspiracy theories. And I was just like, you know what? Like, these are not all the same. Like, I don't like having to say that like reptiles control the world is the same as JFK, is the same as like Denver Airport, is the same as like Tuskegee. Like they need different names, but they don't have them. And I just was supposed to be writing an essay, and instead I just like drew it down on a piece of paper. Sent that to like a couple of my friends who were like, that's really cool. Like, good job. I'm proud of you. And then I posted it online, and the world kind of lost its mind for a few days.
Oh my words. They really did. I mean, I love it. I mean, you've got so many conspiracies in there. Did you have to do any like additional research to get all of the conspiracies on there, or were you aware of all of them already, the ones that you put in there?
Oh, I definitely do extra research.
You did extra research.
And like people would chime in. The original one, it's much smaller. It's up on my wall, but it's like there weren't that many, certainly as in like the colorful one that everyone's seen at this point. But like the original one, it was much looser with just kind of like an example or two in each section, like a few examples in each section. And then I like really started doing research. And once I started taking it actually seriously, and I realized that people were finding it helpful as a way to think about conspiracies, I started researching and like consulting other people on where they thought things should be. And, you know, I certainly wasn't like an expert going to be like, this is the definitive list of conspiracies.
Well, you're an expert now, I think, probably.
I think so.
Yeah. So with your background in climate science and stuff like that, obviously the global warming and all of that sort of thing, that's in a bit of contention, is it, with a lot of people? Some people don't believe, so it's kind of a mild conspiracy. How does that tie into it as well? Like, do you come across that quite a lot?
It's, yes, global warming as like a hoax, as like a, you know, Bill Gates wants there to be like global warming kind of idea, but really it's the science denial as a whole that I think I come across, and it takes whichever form. But once somebody subscribes to one form of science denial, they're far more likely to just get on board with any other. So yes, I constantly get like, oh, she's a climate scientist, so we can't trust her, which I love. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. You call me a climate scientist? Thanks. And I definitely see an intersection, and I see an intersection moving forward a lot too. Like in the near future, I think there's going to be an even larger intersection between the two.
Yeah. Yeah. Katz and I were talking in episode 1 actually about what kind of drives these people. And you're absolutely right. The science denial it's almost like a key ingredient, isn't it? We think that, or we tend to talk about flat Earth being a little bit of like a gateway conspiracy, because once you're into that, and there's so much science tied into it, that whatever follows in any conspiracy they come across, it normally doesn't take. It'll probably take them one video or two videos, and that's it. They're in. They don't doubt it. They're not like, oh, what's this guy talking about? They're like, yeah, 100%. I'm 100% in on this conspiracy.
it like lowers the barrier to entry. If like once you've like watched flat earth videos and you're like, this makes sense, then like all the others seem more feasible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, if you're a flat earther, like you instantly have no respect for seismology because that doesn't support flat earth. You've got no respect for astronomy. You've got no respect for meteorology and climate because none of those are modeled around a flat earth. Therefore, they all must be based on something fake. And it's as simple as that. There's just no respect there for them, no interest in trying to actually learn about them. It's just they've been dismissed.
Yeah.
The seismology
if you're a flat earther.
Yeah. The seismology is a good one because Katz once brought up some evidence about P waves and S waves, which are kind of like the waves that emanate from an earthquake, and about how we can track those across the other side of the world. And we've got like a shadow zone where the core is of the Earth. And what is it they said about? They said something like, you're assuming that the Earth's a globe, so therefore your proof is completely irrelevant. Is it something like affirming the consequent? Is that what he's...
Yeah, they didn't get the point at all that this distribution... we always get that distribution no matter where the epicenter of the earthquake is. We always get the same pattern. And that tells us that the Earth is a globe.
Yeah.
Whereas they saw it as, well, if you've seen this pattern, you have to assume that the Earth is a globe to assume that we have this pattern of... They just got it all completely backwards. It was ridiculous.
And there's probably a reason, isn't there? There's a reason to them, but that they haven't discovered yet, that there's these patterns. But the main reason that it's not is that it's a globe. That's, it's just there. Oh God, there is a reason, but it's not a globe.
Absolutely.
So Katz and I are, you're kind of entrenched in our world. I mean, Katz does a lot of other conspiracy stuff. He's done stuff on, the ones I like, particularly that you did was the breatharian one that you did, the guy that just lives off air. And I do a show every Tuesday on something different to flat Earth normally. And I noticed on your chart that flat earthers are right at the top. They're right at the top of your chart, almost as detached from reality as you could get. Have you had any specific dealings with flat earthers yourself?
A flat earth account was the first account that I ever got into Twitter beef with, and I love it. It is they were the first account to ever block me.
Oh yeah.
Because
I love a block.
It was quite early when I was going viral and like the chart was out there, and like this flat earth account said something along the lines of like, this chart was made by a climate scientist and is therefore like complete unscientific bullshit. And I was just like, oh my God, it's scientific, unscientific bullshit. That's beautiful. Like what you've done there it's modern art. I love it. And then they blocked me.
Insult and block is the traditional tactic of a Twitter flat earther. I've had a few beefs, and I've seen Katz has had some as well, and it just, like I always end up having one, like a beef with someone. I did one the other day with that Donny Betts. Do you know him, Katz? The Donny Betts guy?
No, I don't know.
He's like, his whole Twitter is like anti-moon landing stuff, and I had a beef with him, and then I just thought, why am I doing this? And then I'll have another 4 or 5 months of not having beef with someone. They were like, oh, I fancy a bit of beef again. I'll start it up again. Sometimes just through boredom.
Yeah, you get bored and you're like, can I fight someone on Twitter? Like, will that make me feel alive again?
Like, sometimes I go into the Flat Earther Discord groups, right? And I merely enter a group, right? And straight away, I'm gone. I don't even have to say 2 words, and I'm gone. I'm out of the group. I'm blocked from the Discord server. You don't change your
username.
No.
Yeah,
I go in bareback, as you say. So I go straight in, and they're either question that I'm the real SciManDan, or they will immediately block me. And again, that's normally when I'm a little bit bored. So I should stop doing that. Really, it's not good. So were there any conspiracies that you placed on your chart where you thought, no, I don't believe this is something that actual people believe?
Oh man. I mean, to some extent, all of them, like to some extent, I have to have a moment with every single one of them and be like, really, is this where we're at? Like,
yeah.
This is what I have to debunk. And that's why I don't really debunk very much. I like to think about like the why behind things more.
Yeah.
I'm so deep into QAnon at this point that like it occupies at least 60% of my brain at like waking hours.
I don't touch it at the moment. I can't bring myself to. It'll just be. I know it will be like what you're saying. I know it will take over. So I haven't even dipped my toe in yet.
I'm obsessed. I'm in like so many like secret QAnon group chats where I can ask questions. Like, I love it, and I mean I hate it. It's
okay,
so
let's get in the mind. So you're a QAnon a supporter. What do you say? What do you say to me to try and bring me around?
Oh well, I mean, probably just gonna harp on about the Democrats like abusing children. Like they're abusing children. Like, how could you not care about that? Like, you must have no soul if you don't care that they are trafficking hundreds of thousands of children. We don't know where they are. All these children, where are they? Where's your soul? You don't have one because you don't care.
Wow. They go with that, do they?
Yeah. Oh, Save the Children is huge. Huge, huge, huge.
That is have you ever considered that, Katz? Have you considered going after that?
QAnon. I have, but it's such a big thing, isn't it?
That's the problem.
But going on to what you said, I hear that a lot in a lot of conspiracy people about saving the kids, it's all about if you're against flat Earth, then you don't like kids because the kids deserve to find out the truth. If you're a masker, or if you're not an anti-masker or then you don't like kids because kids are suffering, and it all that seems to be a common tactic, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with like the QAnon narrative as a whole, it's very much centered around the Save the Children because there's this idea that like children are being trafficked and like abused and then like had their like adrenochrome taken.
Wow.
Yeah, well, they're like we got to keep the celebrity Democrat Jews in control, ever youthful with the adrenochrome because duh.
I can't get.
But it's actually, I mean, because of like the sexual abuse nature of the narrative, it's actually drawn in a lot of survivors of childhood sexual abuse.
Did you ever anyone tell you, like, did anyone give you an opinion regarding where things should be on the chart? Did they say, oh, this shouldn't be here, this should be up the top, or this should be closer to reality, or?
Oh, literally. Every DM I get is like, I love, like, I mean, sometimes I get some that are like, you are like under the control of Satan speaks through you. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not even gonna touch that. But then I get some that are like, love the chart. I think it's great. But like, how could you possibly say that about 5G? And it's just like, or like, love the chart, but Bush did 9/11. I get that all the time.
Yeah.
What else? Love the chart, but like Pizzagate definitely happened. It's like, stop.
See, I'm not clued up with Pizzagate. I heard Richie from Boston talk about it once, but I don't know if it's. Have you heard of it, Katz? Is it because we're from the UK?
That's new.
I think because we're from. I think it's because
Pizzagate. What is it?
We're UK based. We haven't heard of it.
Baby QAnon. It was QAnon in like. It was almost like a trial run for QAnon, where it was the idea that there was a child sex trafficking. It's always this sex trafficking being run out of this pizza parlor's basement.
Oh, okay.
Because like in certain politicians text to each other, they would be like, hey, you want to get pizza? And then the people who were like reading that thought, oh, pizza means children.
Yeah.
And they worked it out too. It was this one parlor, and then a guy went in with a gun and tried to like free the children there.
Really?
The pizza parlor does not have a basement, but
did anyone get hurt?
No, I don't think anyone got hurt in that. I think nobody did get hurt in that one. Although there's a lot of other violence from QAnon at this point, but that was like the first time that it was really recognized and kind of. Above ground.
I think that's because being in the UK, I don't think we would have heard of that, would we?
Yeah.
That one, yeah. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a quick look at the chart, and I'm just going to go through a few bits because I was trying to look the other day to see if there's anything I didn't know, and the Pizzagate was one of them. What have we got here? So I got Princess. So you got the. so the first bit here, things that actually happened. So we've got that section there, and then you've got what's called the speculation line. We'll have all this on the screen for the visuals for the YouTube channel, and then we've got you've got Roswell and UFOs in that sort of section where about leaving reality. So are you saying that potentially that may have happened there?
I think that there's like some amount of, because like, no, I don't think aliens are based out of Area 51.
Yeah.
I think it's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
I just thought that like the nature of those conspiracies is more of we have questions. Like there's a real thing that happened that is like the government is being secretive about Area 51. The government is being secretive about Roswell. Like we know that there are UFOs. We don't know they're aliens, right? Like there are things that we know exist to an extent. There's some amount of secrecy surrounding them. So we have questions.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, like, yeah, aliens are a possibility, aren't they, Cats? But I don't think we'll ever see them on Earth.
No, I don't think we'll. It's a shame. I'd like to, but they don't defy the laws of physics. You know, they're not. They don't do something or claim to be something that's impossible. You know, so like you said before, the chances are very, very slim. But it is possible.
It's possible.
I'm pinning my hopes on that. I want to see one.
Yeah.
I want it so bad.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that do, I think. And then we go to leaving reality. So we're getting to the point here now where we're getting to the stuff that that is a bit crazy. I like that Avril Lavigne replaced one. I have actually heard of that one. Have you heard that one, Cats?
That she was replaced by a doppelganger.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
It's a good one, isn't it? Elvis lives. I mean, how old would he be now if he was alive?
I don't know, math.
I haven't got a clue. When was he born? Well, I'm gonna look this up.
I'm going to do a quick kung fu Google on that.
Yeah, you Google it, Cats. Let's see how old. Let's see the year he was born. Elvis Presley. It's got to be 20s or 10s or something, isn't it?
He was born in 1935.
1935.
So he'd be 85.
Would it? Okay. All right. I stand corrected. So yeah, loads of people could potentially that Elvis is alive. The Beatles never existed. Where'd you get that one from?
It's a real one. Like I went so deep into the internet and I don't remember where I found all of them at this point, but like that is very much a real conspiracy.
Wow. You heard that one, Cats?
I think the idea is that like somebody else was writing the music and like there were a bunch of people being moved in and out of it. And
okay. Yeah.
There was a group, but it wasn't the four of them. And I don't know.
Wow. Have you heard of that, Cats? The Beatles one?
I've heard of the Paul McCartney conspiracies, but not the band as a whole.
Yeah. No. Crop circles. That's an obvious one. Greta Thunberg is a time traveler.
Yeah, there's an old picture of her. Like,
I have seen that.
It's clearly photoshopped or a coincidence of somebody that looks like her.
Yeah.
But I've heard it on both ends, like that she was I think she's technically in this conspiracy from the future, but has come back to save us, but has also gone to the past. And that's how we know.
Right. Okay. Got ya. I like that you've put these as unequivocally false, but mostly harmless. These ones, they are harmless, aren't they? Like, who cares if Elvis is alive or anything like that? And then we move into science denial. So now we're getting a little bit more dangerous here. And you've put dangerous to yourself and others. So we've got 5G in there, obviously. COVID-19 made in the lab. Finland doesn't exist. I've not heard that one. I've heard Australia doesn't exist, but Finland doesn't exist.
Finland doesn't exist. This one genuinely started as a joke and then got hijacked by like flat earthers / hollow earthers / I don't know which fringe conspiracies took it on, but there's a spectrum within it of like it doesn't exist to there's an acknowledgement that the Finnish exist, but they're not actually in Finland. They just think they're in Finland.
Wow.
And they've been told that they're in Finland, but I think actually they're like in Russia. Like I think that's
okay. I'll tell you, I was just thinking, Cats, this is going to be good for future games of Guess Conspiracy, assuming that any potential guests have not listened to the previous episodes. Yeah,
we can get. Well, I've printed off the inverted pyramid.
Yeah.
I've printed that off. I'll I'll have that on my wall. It'll help me come up with some
I
suggestions.
ballsed it up with Jim Al-Khalili. I ballsed it up because I talked about one of the conspiracies earlier on the show, and then we mentioned it later on, and he guessed it right. Couldn't believe I did that. Okay, and then chemtrails, obviously, and dinosaurs didn't exist. Yeah, that's a big one. And then we pass what you call the anti-Semitic point of no return, where people are completely detached from reality. And these are great. So obviously you got Flat Earth, you got Pizzagate, like I said, you got Hollow Earth, Bill Gates microchipping, Nazis on the moon.
Yes, there are Nazis on the moon.
Didn't know that.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Well, the Nazis, it depends who you ask, because there are Nazis in the Hollow Earth, in the moon, but there's also a breakaway group in Antarctica.
I've heard Nazis inside the Hollow Earth. I've heard that one with dinosaurs. Nazis and dinosaurs in the middle of the earth. I've heard that one.
You think they ride the dinosaurs? No, that'd be ridiculous.
No, dinosaurs eat them. That's what I like to think. Elders of Zion. What's that one about?
Do you know the Protocols of the Elders of Zion?
No.
Okay, so this is like the OG conspiracy, really.
Oh, really?
I mean, besides like blood libel in general. But the reason why there's this idea that Jews are constantly trying to control the world stems from this hoax that was published in like 1903 in Russia called the Protocols of the Elders of Zion.
Oh, okay.
And it was meant to look like the meeting, like minutes of a secret group of Jews who were trying to take over the world.
Right.
And it got published, went like, I mean, the 1903 equivalent of viral.
Yeah.
Obviously completely fake, just like trying to stir up anti-Semitism, published in like a super anti-Semitic newspaper.
Yeah.
Got translated into tons of languages. And then Henry Ford got his hands on it, and he published over 500,000 copies in the US.
Wow.
So a lot of the time, whenever you hear like the Elders of Zion or like Zog in general, that's always, or the protocols, it's always a reference to this hoax that started well over 100 years ago.
I'll have to look into that one. And Holocaust denial, that's a definite one in there. And what was the other one I saw? Mars slave colony.
Yes.
So what? There's a colony of slaves on Mars. Is that what the?
Yeah. So they're trading human slaves.
Ah, okay. And how do they get there?
They're getting stolen from the U.S. And then there's the Galactic Federation, which I think is involved in the slave trade. Okay. So I think that the Galactic Federation is somehow taking the humans and bringing them to Mars, where they are slaves.
Right. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And what do they do on Mars as slaves?
Unclear.
Dig the rocks.
Know. Mars is not like a
I'm sorry. I'm like questioning you like it's you that made up the thing. No, I'm sorry. And then I noticed you put QAnon in like the biggest letters, the biggest text at the top there. It's absolutely brilliant. I love it. That was what I was going to say. The Obama birth certificate. Why'd you put that in the top one?
Oh, because it ties into, how do I phrase this? Because it's so much more hateful than anything else that's like, unequivocally false, but mostly harmless.
Yeah, no,
like,
you're right.
The reason why it's there, why that conspiracy exists, is to discredit him and to say that there is this like group that is controlling and trying to put him in power, and like the lies just kind of keep going from there. And it just ties into the entire rest of the narrative. And it's another one of those conspiracies that really, once you believe those, like that one, you're just primed.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I can see a flat earther falling for that one big time. Especially how I don't want to label all flat earthers as Republican Trump supporters in America, but a majority of are. Would you say that's fair, Katz?
Yeah, I see that on Twitter all the time, and I've seen the majority of the people who are involved, who I've seen on Twitter supporting the election was rigged, etc., are flat earthers, and I think they see Trump as being a straight speaker who has similar views to themselves.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, right. Okay, it's time for Guess the Conspiracy. Now, Katz, I'd like to say that this is I'm getting offers left, right, and centre for this game. but I'm not.
Like I say, it should be in the shop. There's still time to get into the shops.
There is still time. There is still time. But so this is the part of the show where Katz and I have come up with a fake conspiracy theory, and we're going to try and trick our guest. They've got to pick which conspiracy they think is the real one, in the one that is actually believed by people, and the other two are complete fabrications by me, by Katz and I. I think this is going to be tough because obviously you know a lot of conspiracies. So we've tried our best here. It's currently, is it 3-2 to the guests? Katz,
it is 3-2.
It's 3-2 to the guests. So, you know, if you get this wrong, Katz and I are back in it, and it makes it 3-3. So no pressure at all.
I feel so much pressure.
Yeah, I bet you do. Right, okay. This is number one. So conspiracy number one. Stars are formed by gas giant planets that evolve rather than the accepted stellar nucleosynthesis.
They evolve.
Evolve. Number two. The 100-meter sprint is a hoax. Trick photography and the track layout make it look faster than it is. Number three, Trump lost the election because before the election, the American tap water was seeded with a parasite that affects the brain to make you more susceptible to subliminal advertising.
Oh my goodness.
That's our three conspiracies. So your job is to pick the one that is actually believed by people.
Can I have a lot of questions about the mechanics. So in star evolution, so stars are evolved from planets. And it has to be a specific type of planet?
From gas giant planets. That's the conspiracy, yeah.
So like Jupiter could become a star?
Potentially.
Yeah. How long does it take?
I don't want to give... Right, no more questions. I'll give too much away.
Okay, wait. So what's the 100-yard sprint? It doesn't exist.
The 100-meter sprint is a hoax. Trick photography and the track layout make it look faster than it is. So what they're saying is people can't really run that fast.
Oh.
It's just all tricks.
Yeah. I mean, I got questions about how people run that fast, so I understand. I mean, I believe that they do, but that's too fast. I don't get it. I'm inclined to say that could be a real one because it's the one that resonates with me the most.
Okay.
And then we have Trump lost the election because
before the election, the American tap water was seeded with a parasite that affects the brain and is therefore untraceable after a few days. And that makes you more susceptible to subliminal advertising from the Democrats.
See, that's too on the nose. It's too, I don't trust you guys. And I think that that's the kind of thing that you would write.
Okay.
This is tough. I should get
some like tense music for this, shouldn't I? Like some Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music or something. Like when they're on the £1 million question.
Yeah, I need like a timer in the corner just to really stress me out. I think. Okay, I'm still leaning towards the 100 meter.
Okay.
And I don't think that there's a parasite one because they didn't even make that many jumps in the rest of their conspiracies.
True.
Yeah. Okay, so then stars evolved from...
Stars are formed by gas giant planets that evolve rather than the accepted stellar nucleosynthesis model.
And the scientists are lying to us. They don't want us to know because we would do so much with that information.
There's no reason.
Guys, you've put me in a tough position and the pressure is on. And no, I'm going to go 100 meter sprint.
You're going for the 100 meter. Is that your final answer?
I don't like
I
this.
always ask if it's their final answer in case you're worried. I ask everyone if it's their final answer.
Yes,
that's your final
answer. Final answer.
Okay. I can't remember my buttons, Cats. Hang on. Unfortunately, that is incorrect. It's 3-3 Cats. We're back in the game. So the real one is the planet one. So there are people that believe that stars form from gas giant planets. They evolve over huge amounts of time rather than the accepted model that we've got now. I came up with the 100 meter sprint one and Katz came up with the Trump one. And you've done it again, Katz. You were too specific.
I was.
She pulled you up on it. Yeah. You got to be more generic. But it doesn't matter because we're on the same team.
But if we're criticizing,
yeah, if we're criticizing, you got to be more generic. But it doesn't matter because it's 3-3. We're back in it. Come on,
I'll take credit.
Yeah. My worry was that we were going to be like 5 or 6-0 down because we wouldn't be able to. But it is a tough game. It's a tough game to figure out.
I mean, I know my conspiracies for the most part, but I really like the idea that the 100-meter spin's a.
Well, that's why I went with it, because I thought sport and conspiracies aren't as common as the science ones. I thought I'll just chuck that in there, see if it'll like red herring, see if it. No, gotta. Come on, 3-3. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much. It's been so good having you on. Really appreciate you coming on. We love the chart. Where can we find you? We can find you on Twitter, can't we? And TikTok and Instagram. Is that right?
Yes. I made it super difficult and have different names for all three. But my Twitter is Abbie, ABBIEASR. My Instagram is Abbie, ABBIESR. And then my TikTok is Tophology.
Cool. We'll put all the links in the description of it anyway.
It's all on the chart as well. So.
Oh, cool. Perfect. I do recommend you check that out. It definitely takes 15-20 minutes just to go through it, and sometimes I was looking up ones that I didn't know and stuff like that. So it's really, really good. Thank you very much again. Next week we've got Michael Butteron, who is an author who wrote the book The Nature of Conspiracy Theories. So I think that will be a tough sell as well for the Guess the Conspiracy Game cats. We're going to have to really put our socks up for that one. But for now, we are done. Thank you very much for joining. Kat, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
See you, everyone. Thank you.
La la